occasion of its 80th anniversary, Thammasat University, Thailand introduces its new Hom Mali rice variety that produces high yields, tolerates drought and can be grown all year long. The Hom Mali Thammasat rice variety resulted from over 5 years of development by a team of researchers led by Associate Professor Boon Hong Jongkit, head of the Agricultural Technology Department of Thammasat University's Faculty of Science and Technology. The team applied the gamma ray to the old cow Dauk Mali 105 variety to develop the new variety that maintains the merits of the old variety and is superior for being able to grow all year long. This ensures many crops to be produced per year. The rice variety is also able to tolerate drought better, diseases and pests including stem borers, leaf rollers and roundworms. Importantly, it can produce 900 to 1,200 kilograms of rice per rai, or that's 1,600 square meters of paddy fields. Associate Professor Boon Hong said the petty patent of the new rice variety had been registered and he would seek its plant patent certificate. He said there is a limited amount of rice seeds of the new variety due to damage in the severe flooding in 2011. They will initially be distributed to farmers near Thammasat University in Pathum Thani province. He will ask farmers to help multiply the seeds for future distribution. The Royal Thai Army and the Singapore Army conduct an annual 3-day joint military exercise in southern Thailand to exchange knowledge and experiences and boost their relations. Major General Rongsak Suwanak, commander of the Thailand's 5th Infantry Division, and Colonel Wong Yu Woon, commander of Singapore Army's 6th Division, opened the drill on the 1st Infantry Battalion of the 15th Infantry Regiment in Klong Tom district of Thailand's Krabi province on March 2nd. The joint exercise was set from March 2nd to 4th to let soldiers of both countries exchange their knowledge, experiences and traditions and promote relations. In the drill, the Royal Thai Army deploys soldiers from the 15th Infantry Regiment, including 2 light weapons companies, and the Singapore Army deploys 1 company of its soldiers from its 1st Infantry Battalion and the 2nd Infantry Brigade. The soldiers practice warfare and anti-riot operations at 6 training areas in the 1st Infantry Battalion of the 15th Infantry Regiment in Krabi Province. Cambodia needs to build qualified and competent human capital to prepare for competition when the ASEAN Economic Community becomes a reality at the end of 2015, Prime Minister Hun Sen said on Tuesday. He said the Cambodian government will focus its attention on strengthening education quality and technical vocational training that have yet to respond to and match market demand to ensure youth are worthy successors of the present generation and sustainable development of the country. He said during the 17th Government Private Sector Forum at the capital Peace Palace. The Premier said participation from the private sector was another important factor for Cambodia's preparedness for its membership in the ASEAN Economic Community 2015. Hun Sen also said the pursuit of ASEAN Economic Community 2015 is comparable to boat racing that requires paddlers at both the front end and rear end of the boat. Although the government, the rear-end paddler, might have the responsibility of steering the boat, input from the private sector at the front end of the boat are equally important for direction setting. He said the government has a desire to see greater participation from the private sector in dealing with challenges faced by Cambodia in the context of ASEAN Economic Community in 2015. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations ASEAN groups Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Myanmar, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand and Vietnam. Cambodia late last week began to send its first batch of 309 troops to join a United Nations peacekeeping mission in the conflict-torn West African nation of Mali. Prak Sokhonn, chairman of the National Coordination Committee of UN Peacekeeping Operations, said this is the first time that Cambodia sends peacekeepers to Mali. Up to 309 troops are in the first batch. He said this at the sending off ceremony at the capital's military airbase. The peacekeepers are divided into 2 groups. One will be responsible for airport repairs and maintenance at the Salit and Kidal airports in northern Mali, and the other in charge of explosive ordnance disposal at Gao region in northeastern Mali. Prak Sokhonn said in Mali, the Cambodian forces will work with peacekeepers from China and other countries of African Union. Meanwhile, Deputy Prime Minister and Defence Minister T. Ban advised those peacekeepers to strictly respect Mali's laws and sovereignty and urged them to work hard to fulfill this important mission. Claire Vanden Baren, resident coordinator of the United Nations Development Programme to Cambodia, hailed Cambodia for its active contribution to providing assistance to countries that endure conflicts and instability. Mali was plunged into turmoil after a March 2012 coup that led to a rebel takeover of large swaths of the West African country. France launched a military operation in January last year to oust them. Besides Mali, Cambodian peacekeepers have been performing their humanitarian duties in South Sudan and Lebanon. The program Mini Parliament, which used to be aired on the Malaysian television from 1983 to 1995, is making a comeback beginning March. The show, an inspiration of Tun Dr. Siti Hasma Muhammad Ali, the wife of former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, was famous with children debating issues in Parliament. It is aimed at strengthening unity and national integration among children of different ethnicities through the use of the Malay language. The program is also synonymous with Jamal Muhammad, 75, or popularly known as Pak Jamal, as the Parliament Speaker and the show host. Pak Jamal's character made him the children's idol, with the show receiving tremendous response after it was aired in 1983 in conjunction with the country's 26th Independence Day. Pak Jamal, who was often featured in children's TV programs in the 1960s, has been described as a living broadcasting legend and a trendsetter who transcends his generation and times. Hosting the Mini Parliament show was a big challenge, as he had to both write the script as well as train the children, who numbered at 180, the same number of MPs in Parliament at that time. The new season of the Mini Parliament was jointly launched by Radio Television Malaysia, RTM, and Berita Harian in Kuala Lumpur recently. Among those present at the event were RTM Broadcasting Director General Nurhayati Muhammad Ismail, Berita Harian Group Editor Mahfar Ali, and Pak Jamal. For the new season, the program would have 13 episodes involving the participation of 13 children between 8 and 12 years old as members of Parliament, including 13 as opposition members. Current issues and the rights of children are among the topics to be highlighted and debated on the show. The program is conducted in a more relaxed and casual atmosphere. Actor and comedian Azrul Zaidi Jamaluddin has been chosen to act as speaker. In previous years, the Mini Parliament program came on air only once a year on Independence Day. But this time round, it can be viewed every Saturday, 10:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. This is an initiative by national broadcaster RTM to increase the quantity of children's programs, considering that in 2 years, RTM will have a special channel for children. A former participant of the Mini Parliament show, Norazlin Ismail, recalls her experience at Pak Jamal and shows off her collection of Parliament shoes and various photos of her and the other participants. The opening of Malaysia's second Penang Bridge, billed as Southeast Asia's longest bridge, was a historic and important moment in the nation's journey. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak opened the second Penang Bridge in front of more than 10,000 people who came to witness the historic event recently. Datuk Seri Najib announced the new name of bridge, the Sultan Abdul Halim Muazzam Shah Bridge, after the King, Yang di-Pertuan Agong, against the backdrop of a spectacular fireworks display. The new bridge is located some 8 kilometers from the first Penang Bridge. In his speech, Datuk Seri Najib described the new crossing as an iconic project which would continue to be a source of pride for all Malaysians, especially Penangites. He also noted the strategic partnership forged between Malaysia and the Chinese government by the bridge project and acknowledged the $330 million loan from China. The 24-kilometer-long link, which spans 16.9 kilometers over the sea, is the longest bridge in Southeast Asia. It took 6 years to be completed. It now links Batu Kawan town in Seberang Perai and Batu Maung town on the island, and the crossing involves a 20-minute car ride. It will be able to cater to 100,000 vehicles per day. Some 17 kilometers of the bridge is built over water and will have the distinction of being the longest bridge in the world, which incorporates the high damping rubber bearing, which provides an effective seismic isolation system. The dual carriageway bridge is expected to reduce traffic congestion on the current Penang Bridge by 25 to 30%. The government of His Majesty the Sultan and Yang di-Pertuan of Brunei Darussalam has allocated about 1.4 million Brunei dollars for the implementation of the second phase of the faunal research project in Sungai Ingei. The allocation comes under the 10th National Development Plan through the Brunei Research Council BRC. This research project provides data which can be used in understanding ecological balance, sustainable conservation, forest management and local community participation in what will be Brunei Darussalam's largest multipurpose single wildlife sanctuary. Minister of Industry and Primary Resources, Yang Berhormat Pehin Orang Kaya Sri Utama Datuk Sri Setia Awang Haji Yahya launched the faunal research project in Sungai Ingei Phase 2. Yang Berhormat Pehin added that towards establishing this area as a sanctuary, probably known as Belait Basin Wildlife Sanctuary, it would include the Sungai Ingei Conservation Forest in southern Ulu Belait and northwards to cover segments of Ulu Mendaram Bukit Raja Protection Forest and its extension where results of biodiversity surveys have shown it to be very rich in several species. At the event, guest speaker, the Right Honourable Gathron Hardy, the 5th Earl of Cranbrook, gave a special presentation entitled The 19th Century Zoological Collections in Borneo. Singapore is planning to build a second liquefied natural gas terminal while expanding the capacity of the first terminal. Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong announced this recently at the official opening of Singapore's first LNG terminal on Jurong Island. He also added that Singapore will continue to explore new energy options. Built at a cost of 1.7 billion Singapore dollars, the first liquefied natural gas or LNG terminal in Singapore started operations last May, and it's on track for further expansion.
Because there are more suppliers vying for our business, we can obtain more competitive prices. And with more gas available and new generation capacity entering the market, electricity generation becomes more competitive, which will benefit consumers.
In 2013, more than 90% of the electricity in Singapore was generated using natural gas. Virtually all of this used to be natural gas supplied via pipelines from Malaysia and Indonesia. But with the LNG terminal in operations, Singapore can import natural gas in liquefied form via large ocean tankers from countries as far away as Trinidad and Tobago. LNG now makes up 20% of Singapore's natural gas demand.
Without market liberalization, the tendency would have been just to pass on the extra costs, and consumers and firms would be paying today much higher electricity bills. This is a good example of how private operators working in competitive markets can outperform state-owned, nationalized industries.
Mr. Lee added that although oil prices have quadrupled in almost 20 years, electricity prices in Singapore have gone up by just 40% over the same period. Singapore will also explore other new energy options like solar energy so that when solar energy becomes more competitive, Singapore will be ready to deploy it on a larger scale.